Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
At this point, I don't care. I want to talk about who is most likely to get punched in the face, because that's where I'm at in the offseason.
Okay, what you're at, like, punching someone in the face, or at wondering who's going to punch someone in the face? Yes, and then that's where it's going to go. I so hate it when I ask you two questions and the answer is yes.
Well, I mean, I'm at this point now where I know what's going to drive me.
Yeah, well, that's a fool me once on you, fool me twice. It's
fool you
totally
6,000 times.
Yeah.
But no, I'm going with this right now. I mean, the easy answer is Nurkic. Like, that's.
Wait, you're going with it right now, as in you've already started taping?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, let me jump in and just do the intro then, and then we'll get back to whether or not Nurkic is going to get. What if people don't know what podcast they tuned into? What if they're like,
that's fine.
Wait, I thought I was listening to the Blazers Edge podcast on the part of the Almighty Baller Radio Network. I thought I was listening to Bowen-Biggs and Blazers outsider Danny Marang.
Randomness. You literally can't do it. You can't do it. You cannot break out of that mold.
What mold?
Gotta do
the
it
professional
this way.
Opening?
Gotta do it that way. I mean, crazy things have happened before. You can. I think the podcast world will get by without the opening. But since you wanted to do it, fine. So.
All right.
Are you wanting to punch me in the face now? Is that where we're at?
No, but that's a great transition, Dan. Let's transition to back with what we were talking about earlier. So just to back it up just a tiny little bit, one of the things that we've been trying to talk about for a couple weeks, but because of some electronic and equipment malfunctions, we've had a hard time.
Just call it what it is. My mic is a steaming pile of just poo.
Okay.
And it's actually, like, the fact that I referenced it now, I'm kind of like throwing holy water at it, like, please don't break, please don't break, please don't break.
Right.
But
so should we take a pledge, Dan, that tonight, if the microphone dies on me, that's it? Like, since you didn't want to have a nice, structured intro, then I'm saying if your mic goes out, we're not going to go back and try to restart like 3 more times like we've done the last 2 weeks.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Okay.
I'll just go solo. You can disappear, and I'll play.
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
We'll see how that. Oh God.
Anyway, what we were wanting to talk about this week is we're gonna do our Blazers award predictions. So, like, not the who's gonna win MVP of the entire league, but who's gonna be MVP of the Blazers, for instance.
Like, I mean, we're gonna have a few of those. Like, those are boring, Dara.
What? Oh, the regular.
The regular ones are boring. Like, we're gonna do them.
Yeah, don't give away that punchline.
No.
Later on, it's going to be really funny. Okay.
No, it's not. It's not about funny, but it's kind of funny. You went with punchline, considering we're going to start with most likely to get punched in the face. So,
okay.
I guess kudos to you for the puns. I don't know.
No, I never make puns on purpose. But
accidental puns. That's like the worst, like, garage punk band name I think I could ever come up with. Accidental
punks.
Oh, Jesus.
Did you like that? Was that good? Okay. But wait,
God,
I want to talk some serious topics because I really want to get into some of these awards. But to appease you, we'll go with the fun one first, and then we'll go back to some of the more traditional ones.
There's more than one fun one. But I just think that this one's way too easy for people. Like, oh, it's Nurkic because he gets hit in the face all the time.
Okay.
But I want to go with like the long odds for somebody like to actually get hit. Like, I don't want to see actually somebody get hurt, that kind of thing. But it's been a long time since we've had like a real punch thrown in an NBA game.
Well, we could have been a little bit more clear that was like punched in the face, like not on purpose or like not by design.
No. Like it can go like whatever way people want it to go. It could be like an actual punch to the face. It could be like
the pregame punch Nurkic in the face.
a pregame punch. Like I said, the short odds here is obviously on Nurkic because it's between Nurkic and Myers. Let's be honest. Both those dudes, they have like fist magnets in the back of their head. So
fist magnets, is that like a thing, or did you just make that up?
No, that's a thing. I think
like a boxing thing.
Nurkic and Myers Leonard. No. Like I think Myers Leonard and Yusuf Nurkic are the only two human beings on this planet who have it because they get hit in the face regularly.
Oh, I see. Their face is a magnet to fists. Got it.
Yeah. That's a highly technical term, fist magnet.
Okay, well, I have an outside candidate based on summer league performance. Was it Wade Baldwin?
A challenger approaches.
Was it Wade Baldwin who got into it with Grayson Allen?
Yeah, which time?
So there you go. I think Wade Baldwin is not going to.
He's an instigator.
Take it. And I think that Gary Trent Sr. may jump out of the stands and come help out. Because
God, I'd love to see that.
We're gonna
just straight up wrestling match.
Oh wait!
And out of nowhere, Gary Trent Sr.
accompanied by Gary Payton Sr. Wait, we haven't even talked about. Okay, so we're kind of all over the place here.
Dads in this team
we're gonna be organized by the time the season starts. But right now we're going a little bit off the rails. So the Blazers just signed some new folks to training camp, including Gary Payton Jr. And I don't think we've talked.
Gary
Payton II. I don't think we've talked enough about the fact that we're going to have Gary Trent and Gary Payton in the stands watching games together.
Yeah, I mean that's from a generation of players that like actually punch each other in the face.
Yeah,
like that's a violent generation. Like the people like, oh, I'd hate to go back to those days. Blah 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 blah. It's violent. It's not great basketball. I'm like, I'm okay. Like I'm not like pro death violence, but I'm pro violence every now and then. I think I'm not like looking for like Malice in the Palace, but a little volatile anger thrown into a punch. I'm okay with that like once a season.
Well, I was kind of thinking.
I know you're the pacifist here, and you're just like no.
Well, I don't know, Dan. I mean, we could use a little excitement. And to go back to Gary and Gary, because they're going to be amazing and they should totally have a podcast, which should, of course, you should listen to ours first, but then listen to Gary and Gary. I just imagine the two of them like coaching their sons from the stands the whole time, like the coaches on the sidelines at the soccer game who are like yelling at their kid what to do.
Gary and Gary sound like characters from Arrested Development.
I just think it will be so entertaining.
When that pops into my head, I'm like, just Larry David. Have you seen Gary and Gary? No? Okay.
What, Larry?
Yeah. See, it already plays. Like you can tell me that's not a hard skit to picture.
Okay. So we're back to our selections for most likely to get punched in the face. Are you going to settle on Nurkic as the odds-on favorite?
I'm not taking. I'm going dark horse can. I'm going Evan Turner.
Oh,
I think he's just going to piss somebody off. I think that's where ET's going to land. Like, yeah, ET's going. I think he's going to be my sleeper for this award season.
Oh, okay.
I think he may come through, and I think he may pick up a couple.
You think you're going to award him some things in a few categories?
Yeah, I think that's a likely scenario.
2 years ago, did you ever think you'd be here ready to hand out awards?
Hey, just remember, I'm the guy that actually wrote the piece about Evan Turner and like the rosiest sentiment possible after he signed. So, yeah, like it's. I'm gonna have another drink.
Okay, so are we done with most likely to get punched in the face?
Yeah, I'm gonna settle on Evan Turner. It's a dark horse candidate. The odds are not good, but the payout quite nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna go the next one as MVP, who's not named Damian Lillard. Unless you want to argue that it's going to be somebody besides Damian Lillard.
No, it's going to be Damian Lillard and then Damian Lillard.
Okay.
Like he's going to like take first runner up too.
I don't know.
I mean,
if they're going to make that part, if they're going to make the leap that we are hoping that they're going to make, they're going to need somebody in addition to Damian Lillard.
Wait, what leap are they making?
Well, I'm hoping they're going to make a leap. Why not hope for a leap?
I mean,
are you going to sit there and not hope for a leap?
Yeah.
You've washed your hands of everything.
I've already, just going into the season, fresh, clean slate. Let's just see what happens. No hopes, no dreams, no expectations.
Well, that's fine.
Just riding this one out.
I totally respect your desire to not have any hopes or dreams or expectations right now. But you can't quash my hope that they're going to take a leap. And my point is...
Oh, give it time. Give it time.
Fine, I'll enjoy the time until that takes over. Like, you think that just because I have this positive outlook right now that I'm going to be that much more crushed, once I change my tune? No, I'm going to enjoy this whole time that I'm feeling positive. And then when I'm not feeling positive anymore, then I will deal with it. All right? So...
Let's check back in February.
Damian Lillard and Damian Lillard are your choices for people not named Damian Lillard who are going to be MVP of the team. Awesome. You've started off by playing right along with the rules, as you always do.
Yep. As I always do. I'm gonna take Yusuf Nurkic.
If you let me talk, I was going to say Yusuf Nurkic. You and I are both...
No, you can take him first.
You and I were both
first.
on... Yusuf Nurkic. And my thing about him is that I think that he's going to probably take a lot of my awards. I think he's got huge potential, which you happen to write about today. So I totally agree with you on potential. And you looked a lot at his offensive the possibilities on offense for him. And I've been looking for the last several days with him on defense. We might have him covered. The
thing with Nurkic is I think you're at this point now. Like you've you were a little, I don't want to say anti-Nurkic, but
I was very skeptical. I can speak for myself about this one. You don't need to couch it in anything. I was very skeptical of Yusuf Nurkic because I was not ready to jump on board after he had played 10 games. I could appreciate those, or 20 games. Yeah. I could appreciate them, but I wasn't ready to write them off. And I'm totally not ashamed of that either. And like I said, I felt like I did for a long time, and then I changed my mind, and now I'm okay, I've taken a look, and what I've seen, I really like. From this day forward, I am a Nurkic believer.
There's very few things on this team that I think you can count on regularly. Damian Lillard's scoring, CJ's efficiency, and Yusuf Nurkic's defense. Mm-hmm. Those are the three things that I would actually, I may put Nurkic's defense above CJ's efficiency, even though it's CJ's efficiency offensively has been spectacular. Nurkic's defense is it's there. The only time he's not on the floor is because he screws around and something stupid offensively. And Stotts is I can't have you doing that. I can't have you mucking up the system. And you see that with basically everyone not named Damon CJ. So it's not just him by any means, but I'm to the point where when people talk about the Blazers defense, and I'm interior, they're fine, and on the perimeter, they're okay. That's kind of how I look at it now. It's Nurkic covers up a lot of sins on the perimeter. Damian and CJ getting just at least passable is probably the other big portion of that. But yeah, people can say what they want to about Collins or Aminu or Harkless. The heart. The central nervous system, everything, where it starts, stops, ends, begins, the alpha and the omega of Portland's defense is Yusuf Nurkic. That dude covers up way more than anybody's willing to give him credit for.
I absolutely do not disagree. And I think the thing that impressed me the most about him last year was how it improved throughout the year. And that's the thing about why I would agree where you said that, where you think that you might put Yusuf Nurkic's defense as one rung above CJ's offense in terms of reliability, because as most shooters do, they can get streaky, but you can always, once you've learned how to play defense and committed to playing defense, you can always play defense. And what we watched last season was Yusuf Nurkic going through the process of committing to defense. Because remember, at the beginning of the year, he didn't do that. At the beginning of the year, he was big in certain places, but then if things started to go south for him, he retreated and gave up on defense and just struggled on offense. And about, I don't know, maybe December, January, I noticed that when he started getting into one of those scoring funks or he would just commit to playing defense, and he would just go back to defense.
Fall back, block a shot, body somebody up, knock somebody to the ground. You know what my favorite use of Nurkic thing is? When he gets on his toes and like skips down the court. There's just something mesmerizing about a 7-foot, 270-pound dude like skipping. Like every time he does it, I just kind of giggle. Like I have no idea what the hell he's doing. Like he's just a big kid out there having fun, and I'm just like, that's fun. I like that. See, look, I can find nice things.
And how did that make you feel?
Dead inside.
So as I was going through Yusuf Nurkic's defensive numbers, what I was trying to do is determine whether or not he's really a rim protector, or if his very presence deters people from getting to the rim. So I'm kind of trying to.
And the answer is
yes.
Yes, you did it. You did it.
And yes. That is what happens when a python swallows a porcupine, Dan.
I was like, is she going to do it? Is she going to do it? Is she going to take both and say yes?
Yeah. I handed you that one to set me up for getting it right. Anyway, I was looking at his outstanding defensive numbers. I would put him right now. Oh God, this could either be like a totally stupid thing to say or something that's like, of course, we all knew that.
Ooh. Should we prepare the hot take cannon?
Yeah. I liken him and his abilities and his potential that he's probably getting close to somebody like Steven Adams. Is that like?
No, that's
right.
A really, really good comparison.
I mean,
because Adams doesn't get a ton of blocks, and Adams is a guy who you and I have talked about this offline. Like he's more in the Robin Lopez model, where he'll like just by being big and eating up space, he allows his teammates to be better, which is very much like Yusuf Nurkic. Like Nurkic isn't getting like 2.5, 3 blocks a game, but he's such a big dude that and he knows how to make himself big. Like, there's a lot of guys in the league. Like, we've talked about Noah Vonleh and how he's like a prototypical build. Like, just broad shoulders, big arms, huge butt, thick legs, should eat up space inside. And doesn't. Like, he doesn't know how to make himself big. Like, even though Robin Lopez is 7 foot tall, Lopez plays much bigger than he is, right? Like, he understands how to make himself big. What Nurkic has going for him is the fact that he's just a monster on top of knowing how to be big. Like, I don't know if that's a thing that, like, comes with being from, like, a former Soviet Union country, but it's like every one of those guys that's 7 foot tall and 270 plus pounds, like, they know how to just eat up space.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. I have so much to say about Yusuf Nurkic. I'm really high on him this year. I think it's going to be. Be afraid, everybody. I guess this is what everybody else felt. I feel giddy like everybody else was, when he first came to Portland and he made like a big thing, and I was like, I don't get it yet. And then
okay, let's do this. So because you're high on Nurkic, I'm gonna make my own award category here. This is the write-in category. Who's most likely to have the Nurkic effect this year? A player that's going to have
who's going to be like the folk star?
Who is going to be the folk hero this year? Of the guys on the roster,
like Jake Layman in Game 1. Wasn't that the one?
No, it was Connaughton. It was Connaughton.
Yeah,
last year he had like what 21 when CJ was out. Like, I mean,
okay, so who's going to have the storybook year most likely to have?
Because I think last year it was Harkless.
Yeah,
like even though it wasn't storybook, but he had that one period where he scored like 76 points in 3 games or 4 games or something along those lines. Like it was a nice period, but like I think it gets blown a little bit out of proportion and maybe pushed a little too far into like what next year is going to be. Like who's that guy for you this year?
I don't know, because I'm trying to think about it in terms of like, who's going to score the most points all of a sudden out of the blue. And I think a good contender for that might be like Jake Layman. Like maybe somebody gets injured and he gets a lot more playing time than he'd ever had before. And so he really breaks out. I think that's like kind of a good potential, especially in terms of like, because he's the guy whose job it is to score. I think an interesting one would be, but it would be a lot harder to, pinpoint exactly how, but I think Zach Collins could also have he could have, which, you have to temper it with like, it's not like he's going to go out and have like 5 games in a row where he scores 20 points, but he might have an extended period where he excels. And I think people could get excited about that.
Yeah, that's probably my most likely candidate for that guy to become like the folk hero status, where with Nurkic, I think when he did it, there was serious box score production there. Like the damn near 30-20 game was nutty. He had the other couple, near 20-20 games on top of that. It was pretty crazy.
Well, and he was...
I don't see Zach doing that box score craziness, but he is like that's the first guy that actually came to mind, and the second guy is actually for me, because I have to take 2. Is Gary Trent Jr. Mm-hmm. I still think that small forward position is so absolutely unequivocally wide open that if Trent Jr. plays anything near passable defense on the perimeter, that he could see a serious minutes uptick, because we've talked about it a billion times with Harkless. In my mind, the reason Harkless is starting is because there's nobody there to supplant him. He's a de facto starter. Like, who else are you going to play there? Well, if you get a guy like Trent Jr., who offensively I think has shown more potential than any of the other wing position players as far as perimeter oriented and being able to generate their own shot. But defensively, there's a lot of questions. But I think if you're looking for a dark horse candidate, it's him for sure, because he actually has a chance to get on the court. Collins will get on the court, but I think you have to look for the right circumstance for Jake Layman to get on the court. I think you have to look for the right circumstance for Anfernee Simons to get on the court. I don't trust Harkless to make that jump. I think Aminu is Aminu. That's not a bad thing.
No, he's exactly what he is.
Player. Yeah, and I don't think he's going to he'll have a period of hot shooting, but I don't think he's going to carry Portland for any period of time or be the backbone.
He's just going to represent quiet, chaotic excellence.
Yes, exactly. I want to wear it around his neck like a turnover chain. Just a giant, that whole quote, like a spoked wheel around his neck, like the size of a softball.
Okay, we'll have to make someone make that into some art. Okay, well...
Yeah, we've got some high-level jewelry people listening to this podcast, right?
Yeah, I'm sure we do. Well, okay, so we talked about someone who's likely to break out into that sort of folk hero kind of status. Who do you think it is most likely to take a step back and leave everybody really scratching their heads, wondering what happened?
I don't want to throw him under the bus again, but it's Harkless. Listen, I want Harkless to work. I really do. He has all the potential things that you want from a wing player that's playing alongside 2 ball-dominant players like Dame and CJ. He moves well. Or let me caveat this, because I've seen some people respond in comments and in articles, stuff like that, where I've mentioned Harkless and well, it sounds like he's a pretty good starter because he can do all those things. The list of things that Maurice Harkless can do is pretty damn long. The list of things that Maurice Harkless does regularly, it's a whole hell of a lot shorter. If he does the things that he can do, yes, he is a passable starter in this league at the small forward position. But that just hasn't been the story of his, for 6 years in the league. So, if somebody's going to take a step back, and by take a step back, I mean step back from, the fact that he had the starting job, lost it, had the starting job, lost it, had the starting job, lost it. Well, he's going to have a starting job going into the season. I think the logical step back would be losing it. And that's kind of why I'm looking at a guy like Gary Trent Jr. to be a guy who could potentially step in and be that folk hero. Because anybody who comes in and fills that position is immediately going to be revered and loved. Because the last time the Blazers had anybody who played that position with any sort of regularity where you could trust on it was probably Brandon Roy. And even then, he wasn't even really a 3. He just happened to play there sometimes. I love Nick Batum. You want to talk about a study head case and volatility in production? Good God. Harkless is nowhere near as volatile as Nick was. but I think Nick gave you more consistency. So
okay.
It's just like it's. I think right now Portland is just dying for production from the wing department. It doesn't need to be crazy production. It just needs to be steady and consistent. So, like, I hope I'm wrong, because if Harkless is good Harkless, I don't think it's going to happen. But if he is good Harkless, like, what that does for the rest of the team, he literally does things that nobody else right now has a track record of being able to do.
Such as?
So, get out and run in transition. Who on this team runs? None of them. None of them do. He is literally the only guy with the size, speed, strength, athleticism, durability, and willingness to run the floor. But there was long stretches of time last year where he just wouldn't run the damn floor. Now, part of that is the guards need to get the ball out in transition. The bigs need to get the ball out in transition if they want those opportunities. The other thing is he can be a guy who finishes on cuts. Like, who on this team cuts to the rim?
Pat Connaughton.
Exactly. Bye, Pat. Like, Maurice Harkless is, like, literally the only cutter left.
Yeah. Okay,
Now,
so
you could say Nurkic does on a roll, but, I mean, like, he has, like, there are tailor-made, ready-made things for him to be able to do. And that's why I hated the whole, I need this or that, or I need the ball more. Like, there are, like, gaping holes in Portland's nightly game plan that you fit and slot right into, and you're not doing them. Like, why the hell would anybody else want to give you the ball more? Like, do the things that they need you to do, and you could excel. Not just be good, but excel. So I don't like the fact that I'm immediately going to that as the most likely to fall back, because that just puts Portland in the same position they've been in for the last couple of years. But I just don't have any reason to go any other way.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
That's my rant for the show.
Yeah, it is. Now remember that you've already used it.
Oh God!
Who's going to get Rookie of the Year for the Blazers this year?
Whoa. You backed off. You have to pick. You have to pick here.
Oh no, I don't.
No, you don't get to escape the negative. No. Everybody here, all sunshine lollipops, Tara. No, we're both participating, Tara.
You took 2 in that other question, so I
took 3 in another one.
Right. So,
but I still contributed.
Yeah, I don't. My answer is
you have to have a nominee. You have to have a nominee.
My answer is I don't know. I'm recusing myself from that question.
The MEP.
All the players on the team are going to play great. They're all going to get better.
Oh, God.
So who's going to be Rookie of the Year? Isn't that a tough one? I had a really hard time thinking about that one.
It is in the sense that, like, there's something in the back of my head that's like, Simons is going to be fun. And I'm just like, just that little bit, I got to see him in the Summer League, how effortless it is for him to get his shot off in multiple positions. Like, there's something really unique about that and very, very NBA ready. Like, I look at it and I'm like, he can get his shot off against NBA players with relative ease. Like, I know it's Summer League, but, like, he's not just, like, putting his head down and driving to the rim. He knows how to get that in and out. He knows how to hit him with a hezzy. Those are things that just like CJ and Dame. Like, Dame knew how to run a pick and roll. CJ knew how to create space. Like, I think Simons is one of those guys that legitimately knows how to just no BS create for his jumper. Now Trent's got the larger palette to work with here. There's no doubt about that.
Well,
so the safe money is on Trent. There's no doubt.
It's interesting because we don't really know that much about either of them, because even though Trent, he played at Duke, right? But he had a super limited role. And
yeah, but his one role was shoot the 3, and he shot the living daylights.
Right, but so we didn't really know what else he had beyond that, because that's all he was really asked to do at Duke. So now we'll get to see what his full skill set is. And maybe the Blazers drafted him just because of that 3-point shooting, but maybe they also saw other things in him, which, we can see what they are, see how his defense is. Maybe his defense, because I don't think he came in very highly regarded for defense, but maybe he's great at it and he just hasn't had a chance to show it yet. Maybe he's going to step into that void. But I think Anfernee, he has some kind of like, and this sounds a little bit,
there's something there,
he's got some kind of energy. Like he brings this energy onto the field that's like through and through, like you were saying, like joyful rookie, like rookie who's like, I'm here and I'm just gonna ball, not like
I'm living my best life.
I'm sure that he's gonna work super hard and concentrate and do all that stuff, but he just brings this extra like sort of effervescence when he's on the field, and it's kind of like in the way that he bounces the ball and the way that he jumps, and it's just just a little bit peppy. So
is it too soon to say he has it?
Yes, it's
way too. It feels like he has it, though.
Danny,
like,
pump the brakes. My God,
no.
It is September.
No, this is
9th.
This is my hot take going into the season.
And Anfernee Simons has it.
It can be a lot of things. It can be a lot of things.
Did we just do like a Freaky Friday switch?
Yeah, no, I'm putting the marker down here. There's something about him, and it may not be like he's an all-star but there's something about the way he moves, the confidence with which he carries himself. There's something there that's like, like you have to just imagine me like massaging my chin and my goatee right now, like because that's like every time I watch him, there's something a little intrinsic that just kind of pops off the screen in really subtle ways, and that's why Gary Trent Jr. is no doubt the easy pick here. He's got the bigger resume, he's got the pedigree, but Simons, there's something, and just I have a very Al Pacino face right now. Just that's the only thing I can go with right now. Is you just okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that he has a lot of potential, but it is way too soon to say that he has it. And I'm a little worried about what you're drinking in that can I just heard you pop open. You're already ready to say Anfernee Simons has it. But you know what? The saying for this year for me is from your mouth to God's ears. And so let's just put good stuff out there, and hopefully it will all come true.
Yeah, it's something fun. Like he could end up being like what his it that he has is like the most fun practice player, but there's
he's
just
got more
something
than that.
There.
No,
I know, and now it sounds like I'm couching my bets here, but like I'm excited to see what he does this year.
Right. Well, I would have picked him, but you chose him, so I'll go with Gary Trent Jr. because I think it also is potential that we just see a lot more of him this year, and we can just sort of all enjoy and wonder about Anfernee as he continues to develop in his super young age, and that Trent Jr., 5 months older, just is that much more NBA prepared, and so he may end up having the breakout season. That's not to say that
I hope
Anfernee,
everybody listening to this podcast is when they get to this point, they realize that when I put the title is "Does Anfernee Simons have it?" Now you know where it came from. Haha, got you suckers, all the clickbait.
So you just saying because you actually did say it? Yeah, and Dan is the one who said it.
Yes, I'm the one who said it. I'm the one that makes the titles, so deal with it. I take all the headlines.
It's a crazy mixed up world right now. And speaking of crazy mixed up worlds,
oh God.
The two guards on the Trailblazers have switched roles a bit this summer, which inspires the next award for next season, which is what's more likely to happen, that CJ is gonna have a rap album, or that Damian Lillard is gonna break another news story.
See, like what I want to see is CJ McCollum featuring on Dame's album. Like that's okay. I hate even admitting this. There was the track that leaked of LeBron and KD.
Oh, are you going to say KD was good? Because I thought he was, and I'm KD so disappointed.
He killed it. I was just kind of like, I don't want to say it out loud, but he's bringing.
He did a good job.
I had my hand over my face, like I can't believe this crap, but I'm like nodding along, and I'm like he has a sound.
He was quite good.
Like legitimately, I was like, now Braun sounded like a lot like Shaq rapping.
Yeah,
like it was just like
I'm just doing this because I'm doing this.
Yeah, like I get it, like, but like KD had some flow to it. Like there was some goodness, and like that would really hurt my soul if KD killed CJ on his own podcast and then CJ
Dan,
dropped just a complete.
That.
He murdered him on his podcast.
No, I know that, but don't say that then he would turn around and go on Damian's album and be better than him on his album. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I just think that, like if CJ's coming with it, CJ better have like some serious heat, because like I hate admitting this. Like it legitimately hurts physically to admit that KD can spit fire. Like it's like, oh God, he's actually got flow and some talent, and lyrically it's not bad. Why do I hate everything about this? Yeah. So I would just hate to see KD snatch CJ's soul for like the 12th time in the span of a couple months.
But so what? He's
just taking CJ apart piece by piece.
What do you think is behind Damian Lillard suddenly breaking all of the news about reporters? Because I would have thought that if anybody was going to do that, it was going to be CJ. He was going to make the top 100 list of reporters and publish that, and he hasn't done that. And now Damian Lillard has taken over the role as Scoop. Like he has this. I bet you he's got a little notebook that he writes in and a little hat that says press on it.
Oh, yeah, I you know what? I want one of those hats. I want to put it right next to. I've got like when I was in Russia. I was out there when I was in the military. I did a cap swap with Russian military officers. So I've got like one of those like furry Russian hats from Hunt for Red October.
Yeah.
Like I want a press hat to put up on the wall, like right next to that one.
Do you think Damian's just bored and having a nice lay low summer, and it's just
honestly, I think this is just. Like Dame's a brilliant marketer, and he's friends with Chris Haynes.
Right.
Like that's a good relationship in the NBA. Like if you want, like if there's news coming out about Damian Lillard that's not directly from the Blazers, it's coming from one of two places: from Dame's camp or from Chris Haynes. Like that's the relationship there. Like that's a really, really good relationship, and I like seeing that because it opens up avenues for other people that probably weren't there before. I mean, like for anybody who hasn't read it, like Chris's come up is pretty ridiculous. In the span of 7 years, went from security guard to now lead writer for Yahoo.
Yeah, like, I bet it doesn't feel fast to him.
That's a rise. Yeah, I know, but I mean that's a rise. And here's where I was getting to with the whole marketing thing. Like Dame's a brilliant marketer, absolutely brilliant. And being that he's Haynes' friend, like breaking that Haynes story, who's going to get more traction there? Like Chris Haynes breaking that he's going somewhere, or even Yahoo breaking that he's going somewhere, or Damian Lillard.
That's true, because we're all sick of some personal news. I'm going to the Athletic.
It's an NBA player doing it, and it's an NBA player with a massive profile. Like that's a big bump for him.
But so then, why did he go out and do it again with Sam Amick? Was it just because that's Damian's thing now? Now all the writers just go to Damian and say, "Hey, I'm gonna get a new job."
I think that's part of it, but he also does have a relationship with Amick too. Like if you look back in the early part of Damian's career, I believe Amick was at the Sacramento Bee then.
Okay,
I can't remember
somewhere in the Bay region.
Yeah, but he broke some Damian Lillard stuff. He released some Damian Lillard like from the previously like from Damian Lillard's camp type stuff. Like he was a favored reporter.
Oh, I guess I didn't know that.
So yeah, so like I get that. Now it can be a little bit of a slippery slope if these guys like get like, you know, they all have their guys that they go to. I don't have a problem with that, especially like on the local beats. But like if you get somebody like Woj, but with the players, which is kind of what Chris Haynes is becoming, that's kind of a slippery slope because then all of the information is going through there. Like the same thing with like the undefeated or the uninterrupted. Like the whole idea, like the players giving the players news. The reason they're doing that is because they want to control the narrative. So like that gets a little funky to me. But I'm having fun with Dame doing this.
Yeah,
like, I've heard a few people like just get back in the gym, stop messing with that, blah blah blah. Like you shut up, stop. Like I want to have fun. Just stop with that nonsense. First of all, second of all, like it's kind of cool. Like that, seeing that kind of relationship just come out is fun. Like I mean, at bare minimum, like, as much as I hate fun, because that's what I do, like, I enjoy that.
I thought it was the two Damon CJ, like CJ's been doing a lot more workout type videos this summer than I remember in the past, and like going to the D Wade camp, and there's just been a lot of basketball specific content for CJ this year, and a lot less from Damian than we usually hear. I mean, Damian usually shares a variety of things that are going on with him through social media, which is, one of the reasons that we like him so much. But I feel like he's really sticking closer to home this year, and like not, maybe he's reached a point where he feels like if people don't believe me that I'm working out at this point, then there's no way I'm going to convince them. So I'm not going to have to worry about putting up any proof. But sometimes maybe some of the stuff that's been going on in the media with, CJ and Katie and a lot of people talking about trading him and everything, maybe he's just like, okay, wait, I'm just going to go to the gym, and I'm just, the summer is about the gym for all those people who are just talking about me constantly. Like I'm this topic that they can just talk on. I'm going to go, shut them up by going and just staying in the gym. I don't know. I just feel like they're in sort of different places this summer than they've been before.
Yeah, no, I think there's something to that. And that was actually one of the ways I started to go with when I was writing about the Nurkic thing. I actually started that article originally. Like, have you guys noticed how there's very little about, like, how much Nurkic is slimmed down or what he's working on? Like, he's just quietly grinding, which I think is kind of going to be the mantra for the Blazers this year. Because they don't want to, I think they want to believe in themselves. But after kind of getting humbled, and to an extent, like, no matter what happens, no matter what the final score was in those games, they got humbled in Game 3 like there was no tomorrow, and that was the end of the series. And I think that it's more about less showing out, less me, less what I'm working on. And these guys are always going to be branding, and I have no problem with that. Like, get your bag, work on your brand, work on your image. That's totally cool. But it feels like a lot more of these guys this summer are not MIA, but they're not in the limelight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. They're not.
Even for CJ, like, even though he had the I'm Trying Jennifer and the KD podcast, like, I don't think he was trying to be. I think he was just trying to do his podcast. And I think he was just trying to, have some fun. And then he just happened to have, like, the best line in NBA Twitter summer.
Yeah. But haven't you seen more?
CJ got his shirt too, and it was great.
Oh yeah, I saw the picture. That was awesome. Well, I just like, I don't remember so much in the past of like CJ going into the group workouts. Maybe I'm just misremembering.
He was there, but I think he's just appeared in a ton of videos this year. Mm-hmm. Like
him and Enes Kanter. I have a theory that Enes Kanter is if there is a group workout, Enes Kanter is there. He's in like the background.
Kanter's a dude that's really well liked in the NBA. He is like probably the only person that doesn't like him is KD.
Yeah,
because Kanter just continues to call him a snake. But no, Kanter's a dude who is pretty well liked around the league. Like from everything I've heard, like he's a dude that gets along with pretty much everybody, fits in with every. It's kind of funny because the NBA, for people that aren't aware of this, I don't know why they wouldn't be, but is very, very cliquish. Like there are groups, like you can see them in the workout groups, you can see in the summer travel groups, you can like who hangs out with who in the off season. Kanter is that one dude who everybody knows, who everybody has in their phone. So like he's just a big goofy dude, and I like seeing him pop up.
Yeah, I feel like like I was saying, with all the narrative around CJ, like I think the talk is just gonna, unless the Blazers do something, miraculously huge that none of us saw coming, people are gonna continue to talk about breaking up the backcourt, and so maybe
I'm gonna continue to talk about it.
Right. So CJ's like, okay, well, people are gonna talk about me. I'm gonna just work, and I'm gonna be the best that I can, be, so I can get what I need. At the end of the day, I'm about taking care of myself and watching out for myself. So I don't know. I want to go back when
that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. No, I think CJ's. I think he's set to have a nice year. But to go back to what you were saying about the playoffs, I think that game 3 and like, obviously I would have rather that they played great and they went on to the second round. Clearly that did not happen. If they lost in the first round, I think the way they lost is the best thing that could happen to them. I think it woke them up. I think if they had taken it to like 6 or 7 games, it would have been like, oh, we were close, we didn't make it or whatever. And this showed them they were dramatically outplayed. And I think
there's a hard line drawn in the sand.
I think in the first 15 minutes of the first game, they were rattled and they could never get it back because they were rattled so hard. Because when they stepped out on the court and they threw absolutely everybody at Damian Lillard, it took Yusuf Nurkic out immediately because there was no way for him to get the ball because like Damian couldn't get the ball to anyone. He was, trapped by the defense. And so like, Yusuf Nurkic used to score on pick and rolls from Damian and he couldn't get in that position anymore. And the Blazers were never able to even play offense in that series. So their defense suffered horribly because they never even played defense because they were trying so hard to get their offense together. Because, it's been their offense that has been reliable. This year they dropped off a bit, but we saw them increase their defense. But I don't think we ever really thought that they lost their ability to play offense. It might have just been like struggling because they were learning how to play defense. But when they got to the playoffs, they forgot all of it because they were so overwhelmed. And I think that they never even got set. They never even got to play their game. And I think that's the best thing that could have happened to them besides winning and moving on and winning the championship.
Besides winning a title, is a good thing to just get raffle stomped.
Yeah, that one's
to have it
that's a pretty good thing. As I understand it, winning the title is pretty cool. But I
wouldn't know.
Hey, I was alive. I don't. Were you even alive? No, you weren't alive.
Missed it
anyway, what do you think of that theory? Do you think that they could have all? Like that could be the motivating factor that's going to help them put it all together this year.
I still think there's a talent shortage. I think that's the biggest thing. I think there is some credence in what you're saying. Like it could serve as like an awakening moment, like especially like a young guy like Nurkic. Like all of a sudden that's his first experience in the playoffs, and that's pretty typical for a young guy, especially a young big guy, first time in the playoffs. Like holy crap, this is what this really is. And if he does use that as a like holy crap moment, and it's a positive thing for him, ultimately it's good.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to be behind.
Sometimes getting absolutely punched in the gut and figuring out how to get up and recover from that is a good thing.
So in Nurkic's defensive numbers last year, within 6 feet of the basket, during the regular season, within 6 feet of the basket. Teams were shooting 53.8% against him, which was actually pretty darn good. He had a differential of negative 8.2. So players shot like they shot 8% worse against him than they did just regularly. So
just on NBA average. Yeah. So that's a pretty significant number.
Right.
And I know I've caveated this for a lot of people because those numbers are a little weird. They're not great. Actors across the board.
Thank you so much for lending all of your credence to my argument.
No. I wanted to say because the analytics behind it, like I got into this a few years ago with the idea like that stuff was a lot easier to trust. And you and I have talked about this before. This is more for everybody else. Like those numbers are a good like jumping off point.
Okay.
Like people want to look at it and be like Zach Collins, like his numbers are they were the best or top 2 or 3 or I can't remember depending on how you put the variables on it.
So now I will tell you part 2, so you could know what context that I'm saying this in, is that in the regular season he was -8. During the playoffs he was +6.
Yeah, it was a big time switch because he was being pulled away from the rim like crazy.
He gave up 73%.
Yeah, which is insane.
As opposed to 53%.
Yeah, so that's an absolutely absurd number.
He never got his feet set under him.
No, and he didn't play near the rim
the whole time.
Like he was out chasing guys, and it was just like a chicken with his head cut off. But the whole idea of those numbers is like it's a good jumping off point. It is not a end all be all. Like, especially from Synergy, like the way those are charted and logged, it all depends on who the logger is. Like, there's a definition for what's supposed to happen, but it's still an eye test. Like, to get the numbers that make a little bit more sense is where you got to use the machine learning stuff, so the stuff from like Second Spectrum, and that should become like more public here shortly. Like the next probably year or two, you'll probably see more of that stuff trickle down. And that's not to say that Collins wasn't a good help defender at the rim, but it takes away from what Nurkic was, I think, in the sense like if you say like Zach Collins was a better rim protector than Jusuf Nurkic, well, Zach Collins wasn't ever the primary defender. Like, Jusuf Nurkic was always the primary defender. There was very, very few times where he was on the floor, he wasn't the primary guy at the rim. Like, how many times is somebody getting beat and Jusuf Nurkic not the first guy there to meet him at the rim? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, unless he wasn't in. And, Zach was in plenty alongside Ed Davis when Nurkic wasn't in.
And when Ed is in, Ed is the primary guy. And Zach's coming from the weak side. So that's the context of that. But
I want to double check that and make sure that as much as I can, taking the numbers into context or whatever.
Yeah, no. You're the point about the difference between the regular season and the playoff is huge. And that's, like I said, that's the jumping off point. Like when you go back and you end up watching the film, you go, wow, Nurkic was away from the rim quite a bit. Or he was never like set and ready. He was always like being forced out of his comfort spot, which is, kind of roving around that, the restricted area on either side of the paint. And what the Pelicans did was let's put him on a string and make him move consistently so he can't have a solid base and so he can't bother people and do what he's best at. So, no, I think it's a hell of a point.
Well, let's move on to a different topic for our awards. Let's go with Sixth Man of the Year. Who is going to be the star off the bench? I think it's going to be Evan Turner. I mean, I wouldn't call him a star off the bench, but I think he's going to be the best off the bench. I totally trust him to run the floor as the
Curry has the biggest like blow up potential.
Okay.
So like he's got what you need in the Stotts fence. He can shoot.
Yeah.
Evan just can't.
Yeah.
And Seth's not a guy who like works off the ball a ton. He can. There's no doubt about that. But I think for all of this talk about Evan Turner getting the ball more this year, and that's something I've seen talked about a couple times, I still think it's gonna be if it's not Dame or CJ, if there's like a true second unit, I think Seth is gonna have the ball an awful lot with that second unit. And I think because of his ability to shoot, that's going to be a much more prominent role for a shooter as opposed to Evan. Now, even if Evan doesn't get the ball more where he's creating, I think he's going to be a primary creator and not a play ender. Like I think last year they tried to use him more as a play ender, and it didn't work out. But as far as creating for others, not named Seth, I think that's a likely possibility. And defensively, he's going to be counted on with the second unit too. So I think you're safe there with the sixth man, but I think like the potential for breakout appearances are probably going to, breakout performer of the year is going to be probably Seth Curry, which sucks because he's going to be gone in a year.
Well, it would be great to have as much as we can get of him for his year that he is here. It would be great if during that year he has a breakout.
It's been nice knowing you, Seth. See you later, buddy. Appreciate the hard work.
Well, okay. Would you rather have somebody who never gave you anything and then was gone after a year, or would you rather have somebody who gave you a lot and you still didn't win the championship and then left after a year?
I don't know. I mean, if you're listening to this right now, like, would you rather have had that crappy relationship you were in? Like, even though it was fun for a period of time, when it ended horribly, you're like, oh, that was good for me. No.
Well, 'tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
Yeah. I don't know about all that.
You're not convinced.
No. Like, I hate to see investment put in a guy when, like, the writing is really on the wall with the way his contract's structured and the way he's, as far as free agency goes with him and what Portland can offer after a year. Like, if he does do really well, the chances of him starting or his staying are like.
But why can't we enjoy the year that he's here? Is it just tainted because so is it just like a no-win proposition for you?
Yeah, I think it is in a sense, because when you're investing all of that, like what's the, like, if you're not winning it, like if you're doing that for a 1 year, don't you typically want to do that for, like if you're investing in a guy 1 year for like a title run?
Wait,
that I get.
So you were all in on Carmelo Anthony, what, 2 years ago? Is that because you thought the Blazers would have been for a title run?
No. Number one, I wasn't all in. Number two, there were a billion other reasons for it, and one of them was moving away from the bad contracts and getting off money a year earlier. The second part of that was I just wanted to watch the world burn. I mean, yeah, exactly, and you know that because we talked about that one. Like, I was like, at worst case scenario, it was a complete and utter dumpster fire, and it was going to be fun to cover. Like that's where I looked at it. I'm like, listen. Things don't go well, they're probably going to hate him, which is going to make him like maybe have like a Raymond Felton moment, or he just have like,
or then he'll just get bought out by somebody and go to Houston for the minimum. Did you ever see that coming?
Getting bought out? Yeah. Not getting bought out for what he did? No. I didn't think anybody was going to give him that money. Because he wanted out. Like, he wanted to go to Houston. And we have to talk about that stupid photo. Everybody's on the beach there, like, with their shirt off or, like, a minimal shirt. There's his stupid, just dummy head wearing a hoodie. Like, I get that you have a persona, dude. But, like, the persona you're projecting right now is I'm an idiot.
Wow, you can read all that from him wearing a hoodie. Now, I am not the biggest Melo fan in the whole world, but that seemed like pretty harsh assessment of Melo for just wearing a hoodie.
Because he hasn't, like, have a meltdown, please. Like he's just causing like mild turmoil. Like, if you're gonna be a heel, be a complete ass. Like, he's teetering on the edge, and I'm like, no, you're not even a good heel. Like, stop. Like, you're bad at being a heel. Like, he's the Jay Cutler of heels in the NBA. Like, you just look at him, and you're not like, oh, he's terrible, he's awful. Like, Draymond Green's easy to hate. You look at Melo, and it's like there's like some pity there too. And I'm like, I don't want pity for my heels. I just want him to be a complete jerk.
Maybe we can arrange a nice dinner for the two of you when he comes to town, and you can impart all of your heel wisdom on him.
Like, just
you can show him how it's done.
Caricature. If you're gonna be a caricature, like fully embrace it. Like, NWO that stuff. I'm done with you, Melo. Like, I want you to, like, don't just start all these little piddly pile fires. Like, burn it down, especially in Houston. Like that's what I really want. Like, if he's gonna burn it down, like burning down Houston, oh god, amazing.
I don't know, they seem to be stoking the fire pretty well themselves so far.
Outside of Portland winning a title this year, legitimately my second favorite story would be Houston just absolutely and utterly imploding. Like, that would easily be my second favorite story of the year.
Wow. Okay.
Oh god,
we'll mark that down.
Yeah, no, please make that happen.
It could go either way. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see that they've taken any steps forward this year, but I could be wrong. Do we have any more awards that we want to give? I mean, what else can we heap on Nurkic? Defensive Player of the Year?
No. Most likely to start a Twitter beef. That's happening.
That's happened already.
No. It's going into this year, and thank you for bringing that up, because, again, the easy candidate here, is CJ, because he's had multiple Twitter beefs. But have you seen Evan Turner's Instagram and Twitter game? Like, that man does not have a filter. Like, he has things, he has opinions.
Yeah, but that kind of activity is expected from him, so it's not shocking. It's got to be somebody who shocks us.
No. It doesn't necessarily have to shock. Like, I think he could finally just say something to somebody and start it off. I don't know if Evan has like OG credit where he's allowed to get away with those things, and maybe that's the case. But maybe this is me projecting here and like wanting Evan Turner to get into a Twitter beef, because like what would be more enjoyable than Like, if you had to ask me, like, one of the
Evan Turner versus Carmelo Anthony on Twitter.
Oh God, that would be like that would be like my mega
sweet dreams.
Oh God, because they could both call each other terrible things and they'd both be true, and it would just be like, yes, feed into it. Oh God, yeah, no, that's yeah. Well done, Tara. Well done. You have found the Twitter matchup, the social media matchup that I want to see happen the most. Because Melo has been in the Instagram comments and had some really like salty things to say when anybody does criticize him. And I think Evan's trash talking game is very good. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
And I would like, yeah, good. You're getting me excited for the season now. For all kinds of other reasons. Perfect.
You're welcome. Hang out with me long enough, Dan. Things will start looking brighter. It's okay to admit it. It's okay. Nobody's going to think you're any less of you for getting caught up in my excitement.
But, I mean, they might. You can actually hear the eye roll. Like, that's impressive. Like, I haven't heard, like...
Because you know why, Dan? This is a true story. Before we started recording the podcast, before you called tonight, I was like, you know what? I am going to meet every one of Dan's annoying things tonight with love. And I've done it, haven't I? And now look where we are. We're in a really good place.
I don't know about all that. I'm in a pretty good place too.
I've been coming back at you all week from our conversation last week. I have burned you and roasted you so hard on so many occasions. You probably felt it.
I did.
All the way down I-5.
I feel a lot of things. Yeah, no, I felt a lot of things today, and right now I don't feel anything. So I am completely and utterly abused right now. I am never doing a 10-mile hike again.
Okay. Let's talk about, do we have any more awards to give?
I think that's all the ones that I got. Mm-hmm. Well, you got any?
I just give them all to Nurkic. He's going to have an amazing year. Like last year, I was all into Aminu, and this doesn't mean I love Aminu any less. But
I see you're moving on already.
I'm not moving on from Aminu. Aminu is a grown man, and he has shown himself and proven himself to be exactly what he is. By the way, just the other day on Twitter, somebody was like, hey, are there any Aminu stands here on Twitter? And I was like, how did nobody notice me? The biggest Aminu fan in Rip City. And people are like, hey, does anybody here like him? I got right on top of that one, believe me. But everybody needs to know I am the chairperson of the Aminu Appreciation Society, and I always will be. That having been said, I'm really excited for Nurkic this year because this is going to be his year, and I've been feeling really positive about it all week.
I don't have enough energy to snuff that out. I'll let you have that one.
All right. Thank you.
I am completely.
I'm just going to wear you out.
I tracked that. Yeah, no, I tracked that hike today, and there was like 1,200 feet of elevation like gained in this, and I'm like, oh, that explains why I discovered that I have hamstrings still, and I'm just completely spent.
Okay, that'll do it for this edition of the Dan Goes Hiking podcast.
We're gonna do that next. Like that's the new podcast that's coming.
We'll just sprinkle in little previews here and there.
Yeah, no, we already have sponsors for it. NBC's going wild. I'm going to sandwich that in between the gambling podcasts.
Okay. Well, I think that about does it for what I brought to talk about this week.
Yeah,
we got to rest up because
that's all I got.
As soon as the news starts, it's going to fall fast and furious, and we got to be ready. We got to be on our A game.
Hey, guess what we do have coming up in 2 weeks?
Training
Media Day.
Media Day. Is that only in 2 weeks?
September 24th.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna have to.
I may or may not be a part of that, so
we need to make a Media Day bingo card.
Oh God, yes.
So
absolutely yes. And
folks should send us ideas.
There's a good chance. Perfect. There's a good chance I will be there, so I can track this as we go live.
Can we put like a body cam on you? Like just have it follow you around?
I might be able to do that.
Okay.
You know what? I'm putting a tweet out.
I should get
now.
producer credit for half of your work, I swear.
Whoa. Just because you send me ideas does not mean I use them.
I know, but they're there.
Let's slow your roll here. They are there.
There.
They are couched away.
They're there.
Which is a lot.
If you go to media day
ideas.
If you go to media day with a body cam on, then you're gonna have to start giving me some serious attention.
See, that alone kind of mitigates the idea. And just kind of.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. Let's let people go and get back with their lives. Thanks everybody for listening. You can find me on Twitter at TCBBiggs, and you should follow me not only for the Blazer content but because occasionally I say other funny things.
Not true.
Thank you, Dan. I also
That's all I was trying to do, see if I can knock you off track.
I also co-host the Women's Hoops and Talks podcast that comes out every other week in the Blazers Edge feed. So if you get the Blazers Edge podcast, you also have heard the What podcast. If you want to follow just the What podcast, that's at Hoops and Talks on Twitter. Dan, tell them where they can find you and take us out of here.
All right, folks. First of all, gonna have some pretty cool news that's coming out later this week. I've kind of hinted at it for the last couple of weeks. I'm sitting here getting information that one way or another things were going to be able to be announced, and it looks like it's going to happen this week. So stay tuned. I believe Thursday's the day. Some stuff that I'm really, really excited about. So, as always, you can find me on Blazers Outsiders Tuesdays and Thursday nights from 7 to 7:30 on NBC Sports Northwest and on Rip City Radio 620 leading into the season. I guess, again, a good, strong possibility that I'll be at Media Day, which we can have some cool things cooking up for. And then leading into the season, there's a lot of really cool stuff that I've got coming up that I'm really, really excited to talk about over the next few weeks. But for Bowen-Biggs, I am Danny Marang. Thanks for listening, everybody. Like, subscribe, rate, review, undo it all, do it again. Manipulate the system, take over the world. Thanks for listening, everybody. Catch you later.